We are delighted to welcome you to the fourth session of a series of events aiming to raise awareness and share best practices, challenges, and opportunities to address pharmaceuticals release into the environment. The series launched this spring at the last meetings of the Conference of the Parties to the Basel, Rotterdam, and Stockholm Convention, is co-organized by the United Nations Environment Programme in cooperation with the World Health Organization and key partners, including the Geneva Environment Network. Today, we are discussing innovation opportunities to address pharmaceutical pollution, green chemistry and sustainable value chain strategies. And as you know, pharmaceutical pollution is a major environmental and public health challenge, with residues found in soils and waters, including drinking supplies across the globe. Today, the leading experts joining us on the panel will help us explore how innovation in green chemistry, sustainable procurement, and multi-stakeholder collaborations can help prevent these pollutants at their source and protect both ecosystems and communities. The session you are attending will be facilitated by Ms. Stéphanie Laruelle, who is a Program Management Officer at the Chemicals and Health branch of the United Nations Environment Programme. She's sitting with us here in Geneva. And Gaston Uturburu, who is joining us online from Argentina, will also assist in facilitating the discussion of this event. And before I give the floor to Stéphanie, to Ms. Stéphanie Laruelle, to introduce you to today's session, I would like to share some housekeeping rules. I would like to remind everybody that the documents presented, the summary, as well as the video of the event will be made available as usual on the webpage of this event. This is always a very popular question that we get. This is why we keep reminding that at the beginning of the events. It gives me also the opportunity to thank all those who are working behind the scenes to make all this info timely available for you. The transcript is also available in over 100 languages for who has joined us online. And as you can see on this slide, it's indicated how you can access the transcripts options. You have also a Q&A option, a Q&A tool that you called Slido that you can use to post your questions, and that those questions can also help us to feed the discussion part of this event if time allows. And we look forward to having you engaging with us through that tool. So with that, Ms. Laruelle, over to you. Here.
Thank you very much, Diana, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you. Dear Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure to welcome you to our session today. We're looking at innovation opportunities to address pharmaceutical pollution. As we all know, pharmaceuticals play a critical role in our daily lives for human and animal health, for food production. However, their releases into the environment, which may occur during manufacturing, use, or end of life, can pose significant risk. And over the recent years, concerns have grown in the environment. Addressing this challenge requires us to go beyond end-of-pipe solutions and foster also a series of events that, as Diana underlined, is organized in cooperation with the Geneva Environment Network, the World Health Organization, as well as other key partners, to share awareness and best practices, challenges, and opportunities on this important issue. At past events, we discussed, amongst others, the importance of prevention, as well as of collaboration across sectors, also highlighting the need for a life cycle approach. Today, with our distinguished panelists, we would like to explore innovative approaches, policies, and collaborative initiatives that aim at preventing and mitigating pharmaceutical pollution. We'll discuss innovation not only about new technologies, but also about new ways of working together, how breakthrough also happen when organizations rethink how they collaborate, share knowledge, and build collective solutions. So here's our format for today. We'll have the chance to hear from our distinguished panelists and then move into a Q&A session followed by an interactive panel discussion. As indicated, do not hesitate to use the chat and the Q&A functions to share your questions, and we'll do our best to cover as many as possible. So without further ado, let me hand the floor to our distinguished first speaker, Dorothy Gaggillo, Program Management Officer at the Global Framework on Chemical Secretariat, for some opening remarks. Please, you have the floor.
Okay. Yes, thank you so much, Stephanie. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone joining us today. Dear Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure to open this webinar, which brings together various stakeholders from health, environment, industry, academia, among others. And looking at that mix already, we can see it tells us something important. That is, pharmaceutical pollution is not a challenge that sits in one place. It moves across design, production, use, and disposal. And because it moves, then our responses and our interventions also needs to move across sectors. So as Stephanie said, today's webinar focuses on innovation, and that is exactly where many of the opportunities lie. As it's been said, residues from pharmaceuticals can be found in many places, in waterways, in soils, and in some cases even in drinking water. These residues tell a story not only about environmental persistence, but also about gaps in the way in which chemicals are designed, produced, and managed across the life cycle. And we can use innovation because it can help us close those gaps, but also it can do so in an upstream long before pollution occurs. And this concept connects very closely with the global framework on chemicals, which serves as a shared platform for countries and stakeholders to work together on chemicals and waste issues. So the framework brings together various stakeholders from environment, health, labor, agriculture, industry, etc. And all these come together in one conversation. And the framework sets out structures for implementation through national coordination, regional cooperation, stakeholder engagement, issues of concern, capacity building, among others. And what the framework offers is a way to align actions across sectors so that prevention, safer design, sustainable value chains become a norm and not just an exception. So pharmaceutical pollution fits very naturally in this global framework picture. Under SICAM, which was the voluntary policy framework that came before the global framework on chemicals, environmentally persistent pharmaceutical pollutants were listed as emerging issues of concern. And during the recent open-ended working group meeting for the framework in June 2025, delegates reaffirmed the need to continue collaboration on this issue, and they highlighted its relevance for antimicrobial resistance, but also for One Health agenda. And this is exactly the kind of cross-sectoral challenges that the Global Framework on Chemicals is designed to address. So what we'll hear today from manufacturers, regional bodies, researchers, and value chain initiatives illustrates the kind of solutions that sits very well with the Global Framework on Chemicals. Safer by design approaches, greener chemistry, improved procurement practices, and collaboration across supply chains all points towards prevention. And as you can see, prevention is one of the clearest threads that run through all the global framework's strategic objectives. And this webinar is also a reminder that innovation is not a technical issue. It depends on cooperation, incentives, policy environments that reward sustainable choices. And the framework provides a space for that cooperation to drive innovation. The opportunities that will be shared today can feed into that broader conversation, whether through national planning, sectoral implementation program under the framework, capacity building efforts, and also importantly, in the future discussions on the issues of concern within the global framework on chemicals. So my hope for today is that we listen not only to the individual solutions that will be presented, but also to the links between them. So links between research and policy, procurement and manufacturing, environmental quality and public health. And those connections is where the real change happens. Thank you again for inviting me to open the session, and I look forward to the presentations and the discussions that will follow after. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dorothy, for your inspiring words and for highlighting the multi-sectoral and multi-stakeholder dimension of pharmaceuticals, as well as the opportunities in this unique framework that the Global Framework on Chemicals represents to enhance action on this important topic. So, without further ado, let me then turn to our first presenter today, Mr. Andrea Fasano. Mr. Fasano has been part of Pfizer's global safety and environment operations since 2019 and currently serves as water stewardship lead. And since 2022, Andrea has also been co-leading the environment committee of the Association for Pharmaceutical and Healthcare Companies, PSCI, Pharmaceutical Supply Chain Initiative. So, Mr. Fasano, without further ado, let me hand over the floor to you to share on PSCI's work to reduce the industry's impact on the environment. Please, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. First of all, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone, depending where you are sit. It's a pleasure to join you today to discuss how collaborative solutions are driving environmental stewardship across the pharmaceutical supply chain. Next, please. Next, please. Okay, as said today, I'm here as the co-lead on the PSCI Environment Committee. What is PSCI? PSCI is the Pharmaceutical Supply Chain Initiative. And next, please. And I would like to start talking about our vision. At PSCI, our goal is excellence in safety. No, previous, please. Okay, in PSCI, our goal is excellence in safety, environmental, and social outcome across the global pharmaceutical and healthcare value chain. What is important to say is that we are a membership of 84 leading companies that working together to deliver responsible value chain through three main models of impact: audits, capability building, and collaborative projects. Next, please. Here, I would like to explain to you how we create impact and our value proposition. Related to how we create impact, our theory of change is, I think, simple but powerful. First of all, the suppliers undergo audits to identify gaps in the environmental policies and practices. When we identify the gap, the findings are addressed through corrective action plan and shared learning. And based on the an assessment that we perform on the findings that has been found, the supplier access the PSCI resources. They can improve their practices and the sharing process with customer in order to create value added, and this cycle drive continuous improvement and transparency throughout the industry. And related to the value proposition, PSCI create value for all players in pharma and healthcare value chain by providing industry leadership, offering services, tools, and systems Related to tools, depending of the findings, if we see that there are trends in some of the findings, we work all together in order to identify tools that can support the improvement of the processes. And also fostering a community of peers for knowledge exchange and capability improvement. Through this pillar, we help companies learn from leaders, respond to material issues, and drive impactful projects. Next, please. All PSCI members, the 84 members, integrate our principle in their supplier code of conduct, setting aligned expectations for suppliers. The PSCI principle guide responsible supply chain management in pharma and healthcare by setting supplier expectations in ethics, human rights, health and safety, environment and governance. They promote integrity, safe working, sustainable practices, proactive sustainable practices, and continual improvement beyond the legal compliance. Incorporating this principle into supplier code of conduct strengthens ethical standard, transparency, and patient safety across the industry. Next, please. The PSCI maturity model provides a practical guide for ongoing improvement of supplier practices that match the PSCI principle that we spoke in advance. It allows organizations to evaluate where they stand and move forward through 4 phases. The first is starting up, developing, implementing, and leading. Each phase advances from meeting basis legal standard and setting up policies to be the best in class. By using this model, supplier can spot areas needed improvement, set goals, and embrace best practices, which promote greater transparency, resilience, and responsible value chain throughout the pharma sector. Next, please. Now I would like to speak about the PSCI environment team. The environmental stewardship is the heart of the PSCI mission. We support our members and suppliers in key areas such as biodiversity, environmental authorization and reporting, pharmaceutical in the environment and antimicrobial resistance, resource efficiency, and all the other environmental area like spill, releases, waste, and emission. And as you can see, here you can see some example that we have created in order to improve the capability of our members. We create webinar on the API exposure monitoring, the emerging issue like PFAS, but also we create course to LCA in the pharma sector in order to have everyone at the same level of knowledge and speak the same language, because sometimes the issue is that we are not speaking the same language, and this is very important to standardize the approach. And the last but not the least, how we can work in order to accelerate the scope 3 decarbonization throughout the supply chain partnership. Next, please. As I said, we start from the audit through, and based on the audit, we identify area of improvement in order to create proactive approaches to resolve the issue. And here you can see some example that based on the findings that we found during the environment audit, we create tool, for example, the PSCI PI, Pharmaceutical in the Environment, and AMR tool and resources in order to perform the risk assessment on the pharmaceutical in the environment. But also we work in order to, depending of the issue related to the waste management, we create a waste vending checklist to help the supplier to standardize the way to identify the best waste contractor. And also you can see here, we do not have too much time, but all the projects that we are running in order to support our members. just to next, please, and just to complete this brief presentation, the PSCI is committed to building a responsible supply chain through collaboration, transparency, and continuous improvement. If for more information, you can contact me, or you can go on www.psciinitiative.org, or you can send an email to the info@psciinitiative.org. And that's all for me today.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fasano, for this introduction of PSCI's approach and principles, and how you work across value chains to foster continuous improvement and support your members. I'm sure participants may have questions, so kind reminder to not hesitate to share any question you may have to Mr. Fasano. Let me then move to our next speaker, Mr. Christian Schönhau. May I test the sound? Yes, can you
hear me?
Can you hear me? Yes, loud and clear. We can hear you very well. Thank you very much for joining us.
Perfect.
So, Mr. Schönhau is affiliated to the pharmaceutical company Sanofi, and is also industry lead of the project Pharmaceutical. And today, Mr. Schönhau will share with us on the work of this recent public-private partnership, Pharmaceutical, and how it aims to advance safe and sustainable by design practices in pharmaceutical manufacturing. Please, you have the floor.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for inviting me to present the Pharmaceutical project today, which is a public-private partnership co-financed by the industry, pharmaceutical industry and medtech industries in Europe, as well as the European Commission. Next slide, please. So this is what the project aims at. So we would like to take up safe and sustainable by design principles and bring them into pharmaceutical manufacturing, into pilot scale or even manufacturing scale. So this is our ambition. Next slide, please. Why is this our problem? So we all know that the healthcare industry contributes a large proportion of the global carbon footprint, about rough estimations between 3 and 8% are contributed by the healthcare sector, and the manufacturing of active pharmaceutical ingredients, APIs, is one of the main contributors in medicines. This is due to solvent use, energy use, water use, and also the waste that comes up during the manufacturing of APIs. Next slide, please. When you look at the development of new API manufacturing processes, there is only a very small development window from the identification of a pharmaceutical candidate, of a candidate that enters into the clinical phase 1 and 2, and to the pivotal study design start in early phase 3, when manufacturing processes are designed, optimized, and brought to a level of maturity that is designed to make marketed or commercial material. So there is only a very small window in which pharmaceutical manufacturing development takes place, and in which the process needs to be designed. So the broader the toolbox that is available to development scientists, the better the choice and the more intelligent the choice can be made to produce the best and the most environmentally friendly process choice of a future product. And this is where we would like to start our work. We would like to innovate the way we produce APIs in the future. We would also demonstrate that these new innovations can be scaled into pilot scale and into manufacturing commercial scale with new technologies, and how these improve the environmental KPIs of healthcare products, especially of APIs. To assess the quantitative impact of these innovations, we also aim at improving and harmonizing the KPI reporting and KPI calculation tools that are available, especially the lifecycle assessment that looks at the end-to-end life of chemical or a pharmaceutical product. And there is a harmonization effort ongoing to start from a common ground of data and use the same methodology to create comparable solutions and to create a comparable data set that demonstrates the positive impact of innovations in pharmaceutical manufacturing. Next slide, please. Other drivers for change, or main drivers for change, are not only new regulations and new legislations, but there is a strong market demand and investors' demand to demonstrate that pharmaceutical manufacturing can be made greener, that pharmaceutical manufacturing do act responsibly and do contribute to the global aim of more environmentally friendly manufacturing. So these are the drivers, and this is the main motivation for us to enter into this initiative. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Thank you. And that's why we 1.5 years ago initiated this project, which is a public-private partnership under the umbrella of the Innovative Health Initiative in Europe, with 31 international partners, out of which 13 are medium and big pharmaceutical or medtech companies, and the other half, or the other 2/3 of the partners, are public partners and small and medium enterprises with unique technologies that they bring into this consortium to innovate the manufacturing and to create new innovations in the process designs. The budget in total is 45 million, half of which is funded by the European Commission and the other half by the private members, which are the pharmaceutical companies. Next slide, please. This brings us to the group of the partners that I mentioned here. The project is designed for 6 years under the total leadership of Ghent University and with Sanofi as the industry project leader. This is a co-leadership design of the governance, ensuring that both the industry as well as the academic public side are represented in a team to lead this project and to drive the project both in an innovative but also into an industrially meaningful way. We think that this is a great complementation because the implementers take up the new technologies from the innovation part, which we believe is the strong representation by small and medium companies, as well as research institutions in Europe, where new tools, new know-how, new materials, also scientific networks are created and are available. And the implementation side, the pharmaceutical industry, brings their knowledge about safety, but also regulations, quality, and infrastructure capabilities to complement and to take up the results, the innovations from the universities and research institutions into their day-to-day practice and into their commercial processes. Next slide, please. So our key objectives are to, and I start from the bottom, are not only to integrate safe and sustainable by design into the design phase and the scale-up phase of new manufacturing processes, but also to provide sustainability steering tools that early development scientists can use to develop environmentally more friendly processes to make better environmental choices, but also to provide a new extended toolbox of new manufacturing solutions. And this is not only in the chemical API space, but also in the biomanufacturing space. And a third pillar of this project is also to look into the cleaning and sterilization, decontamination phase of the chemical and biomanufacturing equipment, which also uses a big part, a large contribution of the water and the energy consumption in total manufacturing. Altogether, we would like to assess all the efforts and all the innovations with a new standardized sustainability assessment methodology that creates a common standard in terms of using common data or shared data set, harmonized data sets, as well as a common methodology to not only report, but also quantify the impacts of the innovations. Next slide, please. As we are not alone in this environment, we also would like to reach out to previous initiatives, to previous projects, but also to address regulatory and supply chain hurdles. And we are aiming at also reaching out to other initiatives, like to the previously presented PSCI initiative or to other global initiatives to complement each other, to collaborate and to synergize. This is not a standalone project, so we are embedded in a broad network of many other projects and initiatives, and the exchange with these initiatives we believe makes our work, makes our efforts even more power and impactful. Next slide, please. And with this, I would close my presentation today. So if you would like to learn more, please refer or please visit our website. And if you have any questions, please reach out to the coordinator or to myself as the project leader of this project. And I'm happy to take your questions in the end of today's webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Schöner, for sharing on the Pharmaceutical project and your overall approach and how it aims to respond to this need for sustainability, to contribute to solutions and new innovations, and also for sharing with us some of the key drivers for change, as well as this sector-wide collaboration that you highlighted. As Diana said earlier, the presentations will be shared after the meeting on the Geneva Environment website, so we'll have access to the resources you've just shared as well. Let me now turn to our next speaker. It's a great pleasure to introduce Mr. Ahmed Belal, who is environmental expert at the Secretariat of the COMESA, the Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa. Mr. Belal will share with us today about COMESA's green pharmaceutical manufacturing strategy, and it's a great pleasure to give you the floor, Mr. Belal.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning to everyone. Thank you very much for this opportunity to share with you our experience with the COMESA. We, as a consultancy firm working with IQVIA and Decarbon, collaboratively to submit and deliver the strategy for COMESA Secretary. We worked on the main pillars and address the strategic issues that was raised by the COMESA secretary to improve the capacity building and reduce the import dependency in the continent. Today, I will share with you the COMESA region that comprises of 21 member states representing over 640 million people living in these countries, working toward the COMESA strategy works toward transforming pharmaceutical manufacturing through a comprehensive pharmaceutical strategy that addresses pollution and its sources while improving business competitiveness. Next slide, please. Why the sustainability matters and how did the idea came across. Post COVID-19, there was a need for capitalizing on the current capacities in the manufacturing of pharmaceutical products in COMESA and reduce the dependency on imports. Hence, the COMESA started working toward implementing its industrial strategy, which identified the pharmaceutical sector as one of the key influencer and drivers. Therefore, the growing demand for manufacturing pharmaceutical products in COMESA, as long as we are going to develop that, why not doing it in the right way from the get-go, and including the sustainability elements and umbrella within the new developing project and retrofit whatever we have on the ground. That's why we started by identifying and addressing the environmental risks coming from effluents, AMRs, and antimicrobial resistant waste management and emissions, and also capitalizing on the UNEP lifecycle approach to pharmaceutical in the environment. Next, please. As you can see, our proposed strategy and its vision capitalizes on how to transform our manufacturing capabilities and capacities toward climate smart, resilient, and low carbon facilities, capitalizing on green chemistry principles and sustainable production, resource efficiency, waste management, and circularity. Those are the key pillars that we capitalize on the main dimension of the strategy. Next, please. The strategy identified the three main risks through the different 21 countries: the API contamination in waste bodies, increased antimicrobial resistance due to pharmaceutical effluent, high dependency on water and energy intensive, and inadequate hazard waste disposal. The strategy was informed by the COMESA industrial strategy, as I mentioned, and the environmental and social safeguard framework, a comprehensive stakeholder engagement on all levels, international, regional, and national NGOs and academia. We met with different and multiple stakeholders like WHO in Africa, and also Attaché and UNITAID on the international level, and on the regional level with SADC, SEC, and EAC, and SADC, and CDC, different and multiple NGOs and academia to support the informing the strategy with all the required information and pillars. The COMESA positions environmental compliance and circular economic activities and modernization of utilities and adoption of preventive approach such as green chemistry from design to end for the safe of the environment. The strategy also identified certain shortages and gaps in water use and risk waste handling and cost pressure on regional constraints. When we design the strategy, we try to approach and accommodate all the maturity level within the 21 countries. Therefore, we divided that into three main groups: the industrial hubs, such as countries in Egypt, Tunisia, Ethiopia, Kenya, and Uganda, where they have the pharmaceutical production capacities, and we are looking forward to expand in this. And for this dimension, or for this category of countries, the strategy addresses their current green manufacturing strategic direction and improve their practice on the ground by incorporating sustainability matters and climate resilience and climate risks into their business as usual dimension. For the second pillar, or the second category of countries like Rwanda, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Mauritius, Democratic Republic of Congo, and Sudan, these group encompass countries with emerging manufacturing capabilities and still working on their developing the regulatory environmental aspects. Therefore, the strategy addresses this category by incorporating environmental regulatory enhancement frameworks and putting policies and pharmaceutical support and retrofitting support for implementation of green activities and practice. For the third pillar, where import dependency countries or markets, those countries are like Djibouti, Eswatini, Comoros, Madagascar, and Eritrea. Those countries, they are still in their nascent stages, and they are looking for establishing the framework and the strategy. That's why, and strategies. That's why the strategy accommodated that by providing the support for environmental compliance policies and facilitation of incorporation of green practices within their supply chain. Next, please. Key issues in identifying the resource efficiency and waste management addressed how we are going to advance wastewater treatment, including zero liquid discharge, reduce solvent use and increase solvent recovery, circular packaging and systems, reverse logistics program for expired medicine, and increased recycling and reduced material intensity. Those are some of the activities that we addressed in our strategy to enhance and improve resource efficiency and waste management. Next, please. The first case study that we encountered and this is one of the cases that we visited during our engagements in Uganda. Quality Chemicals was one of the manufacturing that capitalized on the principle, and they did the work on the ground. That's why it is a model that can be followed and replicated across different countries and across different manufacturing process. QCIL is located in Uganda, aiming to align environmental sustainability and pharmaceutical quality standard, and they were able to do so by acquiring the ISO 14001 certification, and also they were able to qualify for the WHI pre-qualification requirement. That there was a need for structured system to monitor, improve, and report on environmental performance, and they did that by collaborating with different stakeholders from the regulatory bodies in Uganda, as well as academia and NGOs for that support. The regulatory compliance were successfully met, as I mentioned, by acquiring the 14,000 ISO, and also they demonstrated environmental compliance enhancement rather than showing it as a conflict, and they were able to use this as a manufacturing excellence in the region. The operational efficiency was evident in their process control, documentation, and training system. We were able to meet with the people over there, and they are well informed with the processes and have hands-on on the environmental challenges. They also have a wastewater treatment plant where they use the wastewater treated for their landscaping of in the facility and across the region they are located in. COMESA can use this practice at QCIL as a model to follow. Next slide, please. Another case study that was also mentioned during our engagement, Kenya. In Kenya, we met with the one of the manufacturing over there, where they they have demonstrated how they dealt with the issue of waste management, and they were focusing on the waste and packaging reform. Demonstrate the African leadership. The key components were ban on single use of plastic, life cycle design for recyclable pharma packaging, producers responsibility obligation. This case supports COMESA shift toward circular packaging as a model to follow on the ground. Next slide, please. The third case was from Tunisia, and SAFE, a Tunisian pharmaceutical manufacturer, aimed to improve the environmental performance and resource efficiency while maintaining pharmaceutical standard. The company participated in UNIDO's Switch Mid Test 2 program, which promote green chemistry and cleaner production. Key challenges were included were high energy and water consumption, waste generation from inefficient manufacturing process. They were able to install laser particle sizing equipment for real-time monitoring of particle size distribution, enabled immediate process adjustment, reducing patch failure and material waste. They also applied process analytic technology principles to improve control and efficiency. Process improvement were evident in their reduction of cost and emissions for the water use. They were able to reduce their consumption by 3.4%, and for energy use they were able to reduce it by 34%, and this was reflected on their GHG emission reduction by 37%. The energy optimization and water resource is also an area where they can improve, where we can capitalize on and use it on the ground. Next slide, please. Other pathways that the strategy provided was the introduction of the climate risk assessment and energy efficiency alternatives like solar and wind alternatives. And this is one of the key pillars that the strategy is working toward, reducing the dependency on fossil fuel, and as well as making sure of continuous process and getting rid of the gap of energy sufficiency. Also, one of the key pillars address the solvent recovery and substitution through applying the principles of green chemistry, and also continuous manufacturing and process intensification to reduce the waste from used material, and also the energy consumption. Next slide, please. Proposed implementation prioritized no-regret resources measures for utilities, leaks, and solvent reduction, water energy audits, and regional procurement standard. Also utilize existing COMESA governance structure and committees to capitalize on, in order not to burden or have a new formulated structure, but we capitalized on the current structure of the COMESA and utilize it to monitor and follow the implementation of the strategy further down the road. And next slide, please. This brings us to the end of our discussion, and thank you very much for your listening. I'll be happy to answer any question at the end of the session. Thank you.
Our thanks to you, Mr. Belal, for sharing on COMESA's green manufacturing strategy and vision, and for highlighting the different approaches, and also very interesting to hear from you on the experiences, the best practices, the areas for capitalization, and the efforts across the region. Thank you very much again. Our next speaker today is Ms. Aura Ledzemale Espinosa. who is professor at the Center for Research in Chemical and Microbiological Services, School of Chemistry at the Costa Rica Institute of Technology. And it's a great pleasure to welcome you today. I'll be giving you the floor to, and we'll hear from you about the pharmaceuticals in the environment topic and how it is being addressed in Costa Rica. So please, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. Good morning. Good morning, everyone from Costa Rica. Thank you for the opportunity to share some of the experience that we have in my country. Okay, thank you. I'm going to tell you a little bit of the experience of government academic collaboration to address pharmaceutical pollution in Costa Rica. Next slide, please. Well, in my country, we have universal health coverage, and the institution responsible for that is the CCESS. Most of the wastewater is treated with septic tanks and primary wastewater treatment plants. We use a lot of medication, and we already confirmed the presence of several pharmaceuticals in aquatic media. Even so, we don't have any regulation for that. Next, please. But we are taking some proactive steps. For example, we are doing some actions in public awareness, prevention, characterization of the chemical status, mitigation, and regulation. We're trying to integrate some approaches like One Health and technical and collaborative approach. But I must say that this is not a systematic situation. But we're trying to do something. Next, please. One of the main challenges that we already saw here is the removal part. When you are dealing with pharmaceutical contamination, you know that this is really difficult. But we saw here an opportunity, a model for national applier research. In this case, we try to combine the institutional needs with scientific capacity. Here we're talking about the needs that you have from the side of CCSS, which is a government institution, and our capacity in my university, Tecnológico of Costa Rica. So in this way, we already have 3 projects in our account. In 2 hospitals, national hospital. In Heredia Hospital, we have 1 project, and Alajuela Hospital, we already have 2 projects. Next, please. So when you are dealing with pharmaceuticals, you need advanced treatments. And in the case of the hospital in Heredia, we already have this treatment, an advanced treatment with MBR and UV hydrogen peroxide. With this treatment, we already got some promising results. For example, removals about 90% for several pharmaceuticals. In this project, we already learned about this new technology, membranes, MBR, and oxidation. So that was the first experience in this alliance, and we think that it's really good to replicate in other hospitals. So we already did it. Next, please. In the hospital of Alajuela, we already have 2 projects. In the first part, we used this advanced treatment of IFAS. That is advanced biological treatment compared with activated sludge. We already got increased in the removal, and we think that is going to be a better part if we use this another part of ozone and peroxide and hydrogen peroxide. In this case, we started with this project in 2022, and now we have the new part in this year. We started with this project in this year. We hope that results can be something like that with the other project in Heredia. Next, please. Some of the key aspects of this alliance is the contribution that every actor has in this project. For example, if we're talking about the contribution of the CCS, they gave us the spaces to test these advanced treatments. They gave us the data of consumption in the hospital, the operational chemical reports, and they gave us the funding for the treatment unit installation. About that, we couldn't do it like a university. That's why we need this collaboration. From the tech side, we contributed with technical expertise. We already had the instrument for monitoring and tools for the analysis. For example, we already have this MS QTOF for the analysis, and the cost of the analysis are lower for them. So we're trying here to gain some benefits. For example, we already have an investment like $1 million at this year, and that is something that you need to do it with another actors. About the benefits, for example, we are sharing goals like prevention and innovation. We think this is a cost-effective alliance. We are doing some networking, and we're dealing with real, actual wastewater conditions. We already have better removal efficiencies. And with this data, we are trying to prioritize our compounds based on concentration, persistence, and risk. Now, with this experience, we can transfer the knowledge in a better way, in a systematic way, to other actors. And we are trying to strengthen the relevance and the impact of our research. This is an opportunity too for our students, because they can do this experience in our university. You need a real scenario, in this case, in the hospitals. Besides that, we already have data collection on a local scale to support subsequent management and national policies. In my country, we already have some initiatives for regulation of these pharmaceuticals. So we're trying to be prepared for that. Next, please. We know that we have a lot of challenges ahead. I think that one of the major challenges here is the national strategy, because we want to involve more actors. We want to systematize the actions, because it's really, really complex when you're talking about different agendas in each ministry, and when you're talking about different budgets and the logistic for that. But we have the will. We need to include the pharmaceuticals in the framework, in the policy framework. And we want to continue this monitoring and research. So we need to integrate this at a national level. We're trying to include green pharmacy initiatives, and we're trying to get more to, in a concrete way, in a systematic way, all the efforts. We need support from other networks, from other experience from regional level and international level. But I think that we're trying to do it step by step. And I'm hopeful that in the future, we can tell more about our experience. So for me, thank you so much for your attention. And you can contact me with the email that I can share here. Thank you so much. Next, please. Next, please. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and definitely very interesting to hear about these collaborative efforts that are taking place in Costa Rica, from scientific research and monitoring, coordinating, did awareness raising activities, improved treatment, and thank you also for sharing some of the challenges, but also your positive note in terms of opportunities in moving forward. Our last speaker of our panel, Mr. Yoshinari Oyama. Unfortunately, he's not able to be with us today, but he very kindly shared with us a video message. Mr. Oyama is a Green Technology and Liaison Officer, Climate Change, Food Security, Global Challenges and Partnership Sector at the World Intellectual Property Organization. And amongst others, Mr. Oyama will speak to us on the role of intellectual property in supporting innovation in the area of sustainable and environmentally responsible pharmaceuticals. So we'll be running the video.
Hello everyone, my name is Yoshinari Oyama. I am the Green Technology and Liaison Officer at WIPO. First of all, thank you very much our colleagues of UNEP, GF, WHO, and Geneva Environment Network for inviting WIPO to this wonderful webinar. Today, I will present about IP and technology transfer for green sustainable pharmaceutical chemistry, providing some of our observation touching upon WIPO Green Initiative. As a UN specialized agency on intellectual property, WIPO supports innovation through promoting a balanced, robust, and fair intellectual property system. WIPO collaborates with governments, research institutions, and industry to explore ways in which IP can facilitate greener and safer pharmaceutical production that is efficient and fair to all parties. WIPO provides the WIPO Green technology matching platform that connects innovative technologies and needs. The database currently holds over 140,000 green technologies from more than 140 countries, including patent technologies. We also have over 160 WIPO Green partner organizations, which support our activities. The United Nations Environment Programme, UNEP, is also the WIPO Green partner. Through this platform, we facilitate matchmaking between countries, including access to sustainable manufacturing and wastewater technologies, by enabling effective technology transfer to promote environmentally responsible pharmaceutical practices. We try to ensure green and sustainable chemistry solutions are scalable, accessible, and locally adapted, and to promote multi-stakeholder collaboration to minimize pharmaceutical pollution throughout the product lifecycle. Why is technology important? As you know, preventing pollution is critical to protecting ecosystem and human health. AMR poses a major global threat, potentially causing 39 million deaths and economic loss. Upstream sustainable chemistry helps prevent pollution at its source, and safer molecule design reduces the persistence of harmful compounds. Technology innovations, such as offering low-cost, effective biosensor-based monitoring of antibiotics in wastewater, is especially important. In this technology transfer scenario, intellectual property helps accelerate the development of greener pharmaceutical research and eco-friendly active pharmaceutical ingredients by creating innovation and collaboration-friendly frameworks. Additionally, patent transparency accelerates the spread and adoption of sustainable pharmaceutical technologies. Building a sustainable IP portfolio is increasingly important as investors increasingly evaluate pharmaceutical companies based on ESG, including the perspective of AMR. In this context, WIPO Green can showcase innovative solutions and support cross-border partnerships that integrate green chemistry practices. A comprehensive view reveals multiple stakeholders and the need for multifaceted discussions, including technological advancements in academia, government policy and regulatory frameworks, civil society awareness, and industry investment. In an ecosystem that promotes sustainable manufacturing, intellectual property protection can incentivize investment in upstream research and development, focused on green chemistry and safer chemical alternatives. This facilitates technology sharing without compromising IP rights. Furthermore, IP can support the co-development and customization of innovations such as wastewater treatment technologies, thereby enhancing sustainability. WIPO can support this by providing platforms like WIPO Green, which enable efficient matchmaking between stakeholders to adopt sustainable production tools. This slide summarizes my presentation. In our observation, ESG and procurement frameworks incentivize the adoption of IP-backed sustainable practices, aligning business goals with environmental responsibility. We expect that technology licensing will expand equitable access to green technologies with transparent patent information, including the utilization of white green. Lastly, we believe that intellectual property enables LMICs to co-create and scale sustainable solutions for green technologies and wastewater management. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, and again, our sincere thanks to all our presenters today. So we've reached the end of our presentation session, and we'll now move into the interactive panel discussion. And let me hand the floor to my colleague Gaston Iturburu to moderate that session. Please, Gaston.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you to all the speakers and the colleagues there in Geneva for this really interesting and fruitful webinar. I would like to take some of the questions of the publics that they sent during the speaker's presentation. After that, I will move to some questions that we provided the speakers just to discuss about it, but maybe we can't cover all the questions that you sent, so we will try to cover some of them. The first one is a comment actually from Edward Krisiunas that the British Standard Institution released a global standard to measure pharmaceutical impact that can be found. Okay, and he shared the link of the British Standard Institution. There is a question of Steve Brooks to Christian. He says, thanks for the presentation. I assume you are connected through some common membership to the ACS Green Chemistry Roundtable, which would seem to have a number of similar objectives. Maybe, Christian, you want to address it, or?
Yes, thank you for that question. Yes, we of course linked through many members of the Pharmaceutical project to the American Chemical Society Green Chemistry Roundtable, and also other initiatives, yeah, like Bioforum, like SMI, etc. So many of these initiatives we do have many interactions with these initiatives, either directly, officially, through the project channels, as well as with individual members of the project team, who are also members of the different initiatives, like the Green Chemistry Roundtable. And the aim of this interaction is also to benefit from each other, yeah, not to compete with innovations, but to also synergize and exchange on common experiences, etc., and to exchange on an expert level, but also on a strategic level on how we could drive innovation, and also how we could incentivize the take up of those innovations into pharmaceutical practice.
Perfect. Thank you, Christian, for addressing this question. Now we have a question for Ahmed. It's come from Edward Krisiunas. He says, regarding COMESA, having been to Ethiopia, Uganda, and Kenya, the waste management practices of pharmaceutical waste, large volumes of sparse materials seem lacking. Can you expand on the actual practices of wastewater treatment in these countries?
Sure. During our visit to Uganda and Kenya as well, but I will focus on Uganda because we had we visited 3 manufacturers along with the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Environment over there. and we were able to explore the policies that is in place and the auditing and monitoring processes, and we found that the policies are exist, but some challenges in the monitoring due to the capacities and the number of people who can afford to do those monitoring. But on the ground, when we went and visited the manufacturing, we were able to identify that they were already working on the ground, and as I mentioned in QCIL, and there is another company called Dye Pharmaceuticals. They were both companies have a wastewater treatment, and they do monitor their discharged water. One of them uses it through their landscaping water recycling, and also the second one discharge the water into the water stream after making sure that it is eligible for not harming the water streams. In Kenya also, we came across one of the key topics that using and utilizing the logistics via instead of using the fossil fuel, they were using solar panels for the cold containers. Also, we came across different manufacturing process for energy saving and energy conservation by utilizing solar panels and hydro energy in the manufacturing in Ethiopia. One of the key topics also that were discussed when we were in Uganda and Kenya, the collaboration with the NGOs for the return of unused material, and the role of NGOs was very prominent in this area.
Thank you, Mr. Ahmed, for addressing this question. We have a question for Andrea from Tsepo Mokadi. The question says, thank you, Andrea, for the very insightful presentation. And what are the emerging trends in pharmaceuticals aimed at driving sustainability, example, biodegradable pharmaceutical products?
Okay, thank you so much for the question. Yes, definitely the trend is to include the large molecule assessment in the pharmaceutical, in the environment assessment, not only the small molecule, start to understand how we can set the assessment, what means for example, readily biodegradability is something that we are starting to look at, but also I think that it's very important is the trend is start to thinking about create a sustainability by design product, because you know better than me that retrofit it's always more cost than create something, the proactive approach. And what is starting to work on, especially with the new emerging regulation by like the PFAS, the microplastic, and all the issues that we are having in the regulatory now and in the future, is to start to think how we can create the product that are sustainable by design, not only in the manufacturing, but also in the packaging, primary, secondary, and in the entire supply chain, in order to minimize the transportation, in order to reduce the scope 3 emission. I think that these are the main areas that probably the supply chain, the pharmaceutical supply chain will work in the near future.
Thank you, Andrea, for addressing the question. And we have many other questions, but let's move to a final one. We have some comments to Aura. Great presentation, Aura. Muchas gracias. And we have a question to Aura from Team Enough. Thanks, Professor Ledesma Espinosa, for the presentation. And the question is, how do you monitor the toxicity of the degradation products, especially from PFAS, active pharmaceutical ingredients? I don't know if you can address Aura shortly. If not, we can give the opportunity to do it by email, but just let me know.
Thank you so much for your question. Right now in these projects, we are in the first part, but in other research, we already use, for example, ecotoxicity with Daphnia, and we use the other concentration from the passive sampling to calculate these coefficients, risk coefficients. For example, we already have some results about sulfamethoxazole that gave us some ideas of the problem with risk quotients that are concerning. And we are trying to move forward with this. But right now, at this moment, in these projects, we are not dealing with the toxicity test. We hope to do it in the future. If you want more information about the other projects, I can tell you in the email.
Perfect, thank you, Aura. There are many other questions, but we need to move to the next session that it's related to questions and to discussion. We are quite a little bit late in the agenda, but we have enough time to discuss about focusing the discussion with two questions we shared previously with the speakers, our speakers. We have two questions. I don't know if you want to share it in yeah. The first one is the question says, from your sector's perspective, what are the potential benefits and difficulties of integrating sustainability strategies addressing pharmaceuticals into your operations and policies? So maybe some of the speakers want to start and address it. Just raise your hand, and yeah, you can open your mic and share if you want to share about it from your perspective.
I can start just because. Oh, sorry. No, go ahead, Christian.
No, go ahead, Andrea. You first.
No, I just would like to start because it's just a way to continue my answer to the question that was asked to me. The benefit definitely, as I said, is to integrate sustainability strategy in the farm operation. It's first of all to deliver environmental protection, to have compliance and long-term resilience. Because it's very important also as a reputation point of view to demonstrate that our processes are sustainable. On the other side, the difficulties I think that are related to the cost now seems to be higher for some of the processes, green processes, but also sometimes it's also very difficult to find alternatives, especially because most of the product, the existing product are registered, and who works in the pharma industries knows that when you try to change something in the regulatory space, it's very difficult to do that. But I think, and I'm happy to also to listen my colleagues here, that the regulatory uncertainty sometimes it's very difficult to face. Someone asked something about PFAS. PFAS is an example. The regulatory change every week, and it's very difficult for example, for PSCI to try to provide a clear guideline to all the members, because the regulation change every week, and also definition of PFAS is different in Europe, is different in US. The regulation are different. It is a blocker on how we can create a more sustainable product, and I think that this is one of the key obstacle is sometimes the regulatory uncertainty. Sometimes the regulation does not have the same speed of the industry. This is my thought.
Thank you, Andrea. I think you already you already made the central point of regulatory hurdles that are existing. And I think to overcome those barriers, a joint approach and a joint collaborative interaction as a pharmaceutical sector, together with medtech industries and other sectors, will help to come to a joint, let's say, perspective, and with this joint voice, the interaction also with regulators becomes more impactful and more productive, we believe. Yeah. So if we, as a group of pharmaceutical companies, as well as public actors, enter into discussions with regulators, we believe that we can gather our information, we can pull together a good examples, good use cases that could demonstrate how we can implement innovations and how this can be accepted, or how we can jointly find ways of lower the bar for regulatory acceptance and for uptake into pharmaceutical manufacturing. I mean, there are lots of other difficulties, yeah, and I think it's easy to talk about difficulties. I think the benefits are very clear. It's not only reputational; it can also be a competitive advantage to be more to work more sustainably. And what we aim in our collaborative approach is not to go only for the most advanced innovation technology, which is cost intensive and is really big investments. We also aim at the easy solutions. Yeah, easy solutions that can be adopted easily by existing companies with their existing equipment, etc. To make adoptions to lower the bar also for people to make the changes, to implement innovations. And innovations can be very incremental, but with a dramatic effect. And and we would like to share these best practices, not only within our projects, but also outside the project, so that it can be adopted by almost everyone globally in every kind of pharmaceutical environment. And I think this is one of our tasks by the European Union and by the European Commission, who co-fund our project, to make this publicly, to make this globally available, all the developments that we are working into. And maybe I can add one point. You just mentioned the PFAS project. You also mentioned recycling of packaging. So all these aspects are also covered in other projects within the Innovative Medicines Initiative, Innovative Health Initiative in Europe, where there are other projects out there that cover with joint efforts these aspects, like what is the environmental fate of APIs in the environment? How can we make our packaging, our primary packaging, more sustainable? How can we reduce single-use plastics? How can we source our materials from renewable materials, from renewable sources? That is for the benefit not only of the European, but also of the global healthcare sector. So I think joint efforts will be one of the drivers, will be a key element in also interacting with regulators, but also creating innovations here.
Thank you very much, Christian and Andrea, for addressing this question. Maybe we need to skip to the second question, and maybe Aura or Ahmed want to address this short, just to maintain us in the time. Maybe shortly, please, to allow our partner to give the closing remarks on time. So maybe one of you want to address the question, what are the key drivers or levers, collaborative platforms or multi-stakeholder partnerships that could be leveraged to enhance and expand the impact of these actions? Just open the mic and...
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, about these key drivers, definitely we need a national strategy, because for sustainability strategies, you need a multi-stakeholder structure, because you need to align the priorities and budgets of the different actors. And particularly when you're talking about the ministries, you need to align with the scope of each ministry. So yeah, we need this systematic effort, and we need to define our agenda, our priorities, by knowing our capacities and the funding that we have. About that, we need to include pharmaceuticals in our policy framework. So if you have that, you can have more commitment to do this action and to thinking a long term for these actions. It's definitely something really good to think about, include aspects like extended producer responsibility, and to share some efforts with other networks. For example, to share databases for pharmaceuticals, to share protocols, and to share experience from other regions, campaigns on proper disposal of medicines, training health staff, and green pharmacy initiatives. Besides that, I think that something important is the support of global initiatives that provide us momentum in expertise from regional solutions. I think that we can take advantage of that. And this is something that give us some benefits. For example, in our country, we are trying to gain some training, fostering innovation, but one of the essential benefits that we're getting from this is encouraging the institution to use scientific data for decision making. In our journey, we already have initiatives for regulation, so we need this part, and we need to gain the trust of the public by leading with example. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Aura, for addressing this important question and showcase the experience of Costa Rica. And maybe Mr. Ahmed want to address this question as well.
Sure. One of the key elements that we were talking about today is the collaborative approach and platforms that can facilitate the integration and implementation of strategic and of sustainability in strategic decision making, and throughout our journey in developing the strategy, we came across different platforms in the COMESA region that the COMESA is already working with and collaborating with, such as the COMESA African Medicine Regulation Harmonization platform, where they can they were able to achieve 100% member state participation in the pharmaceutical regulatory coordination. EAC and SADC pharmaceutical programs coordinated across the different economic committees to avoid regulatory fragmentation, and this is one of the key issues, the fragmented and the different regulations across the different member states, and they are working toward developing that. Industry collaborative platforms such as Pharmaceutical Supply Chain Initiative, PSCI, and they are working with that as well. The AMR Industry Alliance, who established the antimicrobial manufacturing discharge standard, aligning with WHO 2024 guidance. This industry-led initiative demonstrates the ability of ambitious environmental targets. Development partners coordination mechanism with developing banks such as the African Development Bank as a lead financial institution in the continent. The United Nations Agency coordination, WHO provides technical standard and regulatory guidance, platform for harmonized African health product manufacturing in Africa, where African the continental initiative addressing pharmaceutical manufacturing value chain, research and innovation partnership with the African Universities Pharmaceutical Research Network, International Green Chemistry Network, and last but not least, financing mechanism coordination, such as the Green Climate Fund and Global Environmental Facility, the GCF and GEF, as well as the blended finance platform. Finally, the procurement coordination platform, such as the African Pooled Procurement Mechanism, APPM, and this is some of the platforms that can be capitalized on and need to be a part of the process of integrating the sustainability aspects as a key driver. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ahmed, and all the speakers for addressing these questions and to bring your insights on this. We are quite short of time, so maybe we are moving. Of course, there are more questions and more things to say about it, but we need to move to the final remarks. So maybe Stephanie, you want to introduce our colleague Marcos, or you can do it.
Thank you very much, and thank you all for these very interesting discussions, and looking forward to continuing this discussion, definitely. Let me then give the floor to Marcos Ioridis for some closing remarks and take-home messages. Marcos is a Chemicals of Concern in Products Analyst with the Chemicals and Health branch at UNEP. Please, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Stephanie, and thank you very much to the distinguished speakers and all the colleagues who are involved in this webinar. So we heard a very vibrant discussion that has taken us from the molecular level of drug design to the macroscopic level of global supply chains and regional policy. And I'll just try to maybe condense a bit the message from today's discussion. So I just wrote down a few points that I think stand out. The first one being that collaboration is not optional, but it is the foundation of addressing the impact of the pharma supply chain. This is evidenced by the fact that all the speakers here today represent collaborative initiatives, and all the speakers emphasize the importance of both cross-sectoral and cross-stakeholder collaboration to deliver these results. We also heard the importance of starting upstream at the design phase to deliver results. This was emphasized by Christian as well as many other speakers, and the importance of delivering the right tools, such as lifecycle assessment, so that people working at the early design stage of pharmaceuticals can address results throughout the whole life cycle. Then we also heard that solutions do exist for many of the cases, and they have proven to deliver results. We heard from Aura and Ahmed about solutions implemented from Costa Rica to Tunisia, Kenya, and Uganda that can reduce the impact of pharma operations. And as Christian said, innovations can be incremental, but they can have a dramatic effect. Then related to innovations as well, innovation must be paired with standards and measurements. So Yoshinari mentioned the importance of patent transparency tools and flexible licensing models that can help responsible solutions. But Andrea and Christian also emphasized the importance of pairing innovations with standard and harmonized metrics. And last but not least, Aura gave us an insight of how collaboration between academia and policy can help inform responsible policies, and therefore help policy support and incentivize the shift. These were the very condensed messages, and thank you once again to all the speakers for this very interesting discussion.
Thank you very much, Marcos, and thanks for everyone for staying with us while we conclude this event. It's now my pleasure to give you some updates on upcoming events from the Geneva Environment Network and our partners. So we have various events before the end of the year, including one launching a circular jobs report just tomorrow, and a few others in preparation of major negotiations and meetings, such as the first plenary of the Science Policy panel on chemicals, waste and pollution, and the Human Rights Council. But most importantly, it's my pleasure to bring to your attention an important event that we will have at the International Environment House on 17 December, where ahead of the first plenary of the ISP, we will gather stakeholders from Geneva and beyond to dedicate the full day to the science policy interface. So you're all very welcome to join us, and we will shortly send some links in the chat for you to stay up to date with these events. Thank you.
Goodbye to all from Geneva.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.